another episode of the InLove Words podcast, where we work to eliminate the negative stereotypes that are commonly associated with hip hop while paying value and respect to the impact its lyrics have had on society. I am your host, Chris D. As always, man, those of y'all who are putting your ears onto my words and my voice, I appreciate you. Whether you on the comeback or this the first time coming, man, I appreciate y'all all, man. I wouldn't be this show, this podcast, and everything I'm doing here wouldn't be nothing if y'all ain't lay your ears on it. So I definitely appreciate it, man. So today's episode, since we are going into February, which is, as we all know, Black History Month, um, you know, I feel it's right that we only start off with a topic today that is, I feel it's something that we have, but it's gone away over time. It comes back here and there. It's starting to come back, in these of recent years. But that is basically over the topic of pride, specifically Black pride. So I really wanted to tap into that as we kick off this Black History Month 2023, moving on forward and, paying homage to the culture and what we have laid, to this country, to us being here. So before we even go into the topic, man, let me go ahead and hit y'all off with the name of the song and the artist that we're going to be going over today. This guy here, like to always give y'all how I got introduced to whatever artist I'm putting out there to y'all, man. And I don't even, I can't even tell you when or how I got my ears on this dude, man. But it's like he just snuck up, man. He had a couple of hits, like late 2000s, so like 2009 maybe, I guess, 2010, 11. But he just snuck in, man. In that mixtape era, I was hearing some of his things that he was putting out, and it was like, I don't want to, yeah, almost like a breath of fresh air, man, because he was bringing lyrics back to the table, bringing storytelling, bringing conscious thought, back to the table, and it was something that at that time, man, hip hop was going through a shift, from, and no shade, because I love all hip hop, man, from the start to the current. Um, but we was heavy on the trap era and all that, and I think this guy brought it back to the conscious thinking that I remember hearing in the early '90s hip hop, but with that 2000 flow. So man, the dude, he kind of stuck on me, man. He kind of stuck on me once I started listening to him. So the name of the song that we're going over today, it's appropriately titled, I feel, for this Black History Month, and it's titled New Black. Um, it came out on November 27th of 2014, and it came off of an album with the same title and moniker, New Black. Um, like I said, the artist that put this album out, man, he has been he has been on point with everything that I've heard from him. It's been a couple of songs I was like, where is he going with that? But then you sit back and really listen to it and feel what he vibing with, and you be like, man, okay, bet, yeah, that's what it is. So as always, I like to give these artists a birth given name, so we can still recognize them as men and women, and not just an artist, and not just a intangible figure in the entertainment industry, and see them as a real person. So what's on his birth certificate, what he goes by, what his mom and his daddy and his cousins and his uncles call him, is Mr. Bobby Ray Simmons Jr. So if you don't know who that is, you probably definitely know B.O.B. Man, this dude, Like I said, if any of y'all out there have ever put your ears on this guy, y'all know he's a unique character. Um, if I'm not mistaken, I think he plays the guitar. If I'm not mistaken, I believe he plays the guitar. Just a true musician. Um, but yeah, I wanted to definitely pay highlight as we start off, and I'm gonna keep y'all keep hearing me say it over and over again in this episode, this Black History Month, because man, I think just Black history in general, just Black people in general, we need to definitely make a shift and pay homage once again, which is why I wanted to make this episode today, and focus on that topic of pride and how to regain and how to restore the pride that we have in our community and in ourselves, man. Because I feel like it's something that had faded away for a minute, and like I said, as of recent years, it's starting to come back. Looks like, but I want us to make sure it sticks. If it is coming back, I want us to make sure it sticks this time. It doesn't go anywhere. So before we go diving into the topic and breaking down some of the lyrics that Mr. Bobby Ray um, lays on us, let's go off first and look into what the definition of pride is. Um, when I looked it up, it had several definitions, but the two that I felt were appropriate and to this episode and to what this song means were: one, pride is a feeling of deep pleasure or satisfaction derived from one's own achievements, the achievements of those with whom one is closely associated, or from qualities or possessions that are widely admired. The second definition of pride that I found was just simply put consciousness of one's own dignity. So, those two are definitely something that I think we've always had as black people. Just pride within ourselves. That's why we've created the whole hip hop culture and all the other um, facets of life, whether it be political, entertainment, athletic, business world, inventions, whatever it is that we've done. I believe that's why we have always made a headway in what it is we're doing and done and have created something that is widely as much as it may not get recognized, it's widely used, practical in this world, is because we have that pride, we have that belief in ourselves. But when we look at just black people in general and the culture that we have, um, and this is tough for me on this one, because I look at what hip hop has done for the black community, and then I also look at what hip hop has done to the black community. And let me break this down. As far as for the black community, I feel like hip hop has allowed us to, as I've said over and over again in these episodes, I feel like it has given us another medium to um, be ourselves, tell our story, be unapologetically who we are, um, and just come with no asking for no what's the word that I'm looking for? Asking for no I guess no apologies or no we not asking for a seat at the table with hip hop. We coming in, bringing our chair and sitting down right there at the table with it. So I definitely feel that's what hip hop has done for the black community, and it has spread out beyond just music. You can see it in the movies. You can see it in the politics. You can see it in the business world. Hip hop has influenced so much, just with the vocabulary, the swag, the mindset, the um, no holds barred in. I not say confrontational, but expressing what you believe and what you feel. Hip hop has definitely brought that. So that's what I think that hip hop has done for the black community. But on the flip side, like I said, this is hard because a lot of this is the music that I love and I will be covering on this episode. But it is also done to the community as by showing the dark side of what the black community has going on. It is and as always, these are my own opinions. This is what I feel. If you want to reach out to me and have a further discussion on it, I'm always all for it. But I feel like what it has done to the black community has given, by us being able to tell our story, by us being able to share the trauma and everything that we have been through, it has allowed um, it has allowed a light to be shown on those things and allow people that are outside of our community to point the finger and emphasize on what's wrong with us. And in their eyes, there's nothing wrong with us as black people, but um, it has allowed them to, like I said, shine a light on what society deems as wrong, and use that as a tool to find a way to um, keep the mindset in us negatively stigmatized. And I really feel that we need to take ownership back of our story. And what I mean is, we need to say, yeah, we've been through this trauma. Yeah, this is how things are going on in the black community and the black neighborhoods. But we need to hold each other accountable in that also. Um, that I think that's one of the things that really, and I'm going off here, but this is a topic that's, man, it sits on my heart. Just being black, being a black man, being a young black man, being a black father. All of that kind of that's a topic that, as of course, it's it's something quite close to me. Um, Now I forgot where I was going, but anyway, um, I feel like we need to take our story back and reclaim and say, yes, we have been going through these things. We have had these negative experiences, but this is what makes us great. And by us holding each other accountable, that's where I was going. By us holding each other accountable, we can start talking to the youth, start talking to our peers in the community, and say, "Hey, man, you slipping up, you tripping. That ain't what we need to be doing to represent us." Um, and that's where that pride comes from, you know. And that's why I say I feel like it's been diminished over the years because we kind of, instead of taking that old community role that I saw in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, take care of, take care of one another, check each other when we doing something wrong. It's kind of like now we live in a world like that ain't my business. They doing what they doing. That ain't my business. I ain't got nothing to say to that. I'ma stay in my lane and go over here. And I could go on a whole history tangent on where I think that whole shift came, but I'm not. But I do feel like we have to, especially for those of us who are making it, who have made it out of those traumatic and negative situations. We need to figure out how we can reach back and help those of us that are still stuck, that are still making the decisions that are holding them back. And I really feel like it's been happening in these past recent years, man. So I'm gonna get off my soapbox on this, man. We gonna dive into new black and what black pride actually means. So the first thing, and I just spoke on this, is the confidence in self. And B.O.B. starts it off with the very first like 8 bars of this song, and he comes in. He says, "Tell me what it means to be black. Someone tell me what it means. Who I gotta vote for? Who am I to be? What car I gotta drive? Where I gotta buy my jeans, black man? If you ain't really hood, you can't be a black man. Is it 'cause I'm proper when I speak, black man? Should I be a chain and gold teeth, black man? Or a Martin Luther King had a dream, black man?" So that goes all into what I was just saying about how the societal picture that has been painted of black people in the black community, how it has I feel like we're the only race, culture, whatever you want to call it, group of people who we have to follow what society tells us to be. And if we don't live in the hood or whatever and we raised in the suburbs, this is how we supposed to be. If we are in the hood, this is how we supposed to be. This is how we supposed to behave. This is how we're supposed to dress. This is how we're supposed to look. This is how we're supposed to talk. And at the end of the day, yeah, we live under this racial construct that has been created. But at the end of the day, we just humans, man. And we have emotions and we have experiences, just like any other group of human beings on this earth. And I think that's where the divide comes from in black people a lot of the times, is that we don't know. We always hear this phrase, this comment that so and so ain't black enough, or somebody too black or acting too black. And I always ask myself, like, what does that mean? What does it mean? Like BLB said, tell me what it means to be black. Someone tell me what it means. What does that mean? Like, just because I like to wear hoodies and J's and jewelry or whatever, I'm labeled as this type of black person. Or if I'm, and a lot of the times that type of black person is seen by the outside community as too black. Or if I'm from the suburbs and I've never seen boys in the hood, or I've never experienced some of the commonly associated black experiences, I'm not black enough. So it's like we can't win from losing. We're always on this divide. I don't know, and I'm only speaking from what I can see because I don't live in any other culture but being black. But I don't know any other cultures that are going through that, where they have that divide. And maybe they are. But from my experience, from what I've seen, I see it greatly in the black community, and that's what keeps us torn because every every I guess every group of black people within black people, every subgroup is looking at the other side. It's almost like the old. And I hate to bring slavery into it, but just for this example, it's like the house nigga versus the field nigga mentality, and I think that's something that is carried on to our current days. Like, we look at each other and say, "Oh, you ain't this way, so you ain't the type of black that I can get down with. You ain't the type of black that I can get down with." And what happens with that is no one holds each other accountable. So the people from the hood who have interactions with the suburban black folk, is like they not hipping them to their experiences, to where um, they can let them understand where they're coming from, or the suburban black folk aren't receiving where they come from because either they too far removed and don't want to remember that because that's where their origins are, or they've never experienced it, so they're in their own little bubble and don't know how to hold each other accountable. Or on the flip side, you know, the the hood black folks. And I hate saying hood, but that's what it is. The hood black folks looking at the suburban black folks like, man, you you bougie, you trying to act white, you trying to do all these things when it's just a different mindset, a different way of thinking, a different way of living. And I think that regardless of what end of the spectrum that you're on as a black person, because of our culture being so under attack, so so stigmatized, I feel like no matter where you come from, we all need to look at each other and hold each other accountable. Because black is black in America. When people looking at us outside our community, black is black, and that's something that I really feel that we have to work on. We have to work on fighting for our right to humanity as just people, as persons on this. And the only way that we can do this is if we stop the fight within each other, within our group, and try and work together and trying to find a way to unite and figure out what we can do in order to advance, in order to move forward. Um, so I really feel like by us doing that, by us looking and answering that question within ourselves that Bob is asking, when it says, tell me what it means to be black, tell me what it means, who I gotta vote for, who am I to be, what car I gotta drive, where I gotta buy my jeans, black man. When we stop looking at people as if they are not a part of us because of what they're doing, how they're dressing, what they're acting like, whether they acting too black or not black enough, and we just see them as another black person, we allow ourselves to hold them accountable, each other accountable, and we find a way to break the stigma that we are not against each other, we are not fighting against each other, that we're fighting that we're working in unison to grow and be better. And it's nothing negative that we're holding on to. And he goes further, B.O.B., in the song, and he says, and this goes to that accountability part that I was speaking about. Um, he says, you really got to practice what you preach, black man. How you gonna talk about peace, black man, when I got death threats on my screen? I'm not the enemy, black man. So who draws the first straw? Everybody hurt, but who caused the first scar? Because as soon as you see niggas get to fighting, you be the first motherfucker want to yell out world star. And that that era, because like I said, this album came out in 2014, so that was that world star era. And you know how many fights, and when they was making that, what was them, I forget them DVDs, they was putting out like hood fights or something, they was putting out all these DVDs, and I'm looking like, man, they they found a way to highlight and market our bad side, our negative side. And when are we gonna look at each other and it's like, man, put the cameras down and help this situation? You know, put the opinions down and really get to the soul of what even got these cats fighting, what even got them out here with this negative mindset. Um, Cause we sit here and we talk about all the things that the black and when I say we, I'm talking about black people. I'm talking about the black community. We talk about all these things that needs to change and need to get better, but majority of these people who are saying this are not reaching back into the community and um, and doing something to help them to talk to them to figure out, man, why are we still struggling in this? Why are we when we have more opportunities than we've had in previous decades? Why are we still making some of the same mistakes that we're making? Um, we gotta be able to sit down and say, okay, not only am I gonna talk about it, but I'm gonna be about it. I'm gonna actually go out there and do it too. I'm gonna actually go out there and get this done and rebuild this community and figure out what can I do to help make this world grow, make this world, in the words of Michael Jackson, make this world a better place. Um, so we gotta figure out how to bring our solidarity back and put the community. I, I hate doing this, but you have to do it because I feel like, it's that old saying, you got to know where you came from to know where you're going. And I look at the eras of like the Harlem Renaissance or even right after slavery, man, the Reconstruction era, um, and all these time periods. Look at the Civil Rights Movement. Look at the Revolutionary period that came in the late '60s, early '70s. Um, we worked as a community, even if you was out there doing wrong. I mean, the pimps, hustlers, and dope dealers had a respect for being black. they may not have been living right. They may not have been making the right decisions, but they had, for the most part, a respect for what it was to be a black person because they knew what it was to go through the black struggle, regardless of if you made it or if you still in the gutter. They knew what that experience was like because of how black people were being treated, and I really feel like, and I'm gonna go pinch on this right now. I'm not gonna go in on this, but I really feel like when everything got integrated, it made some black people feel like we made it. We made it, and if I made it, then you can make it. Almost that old. I was about to say something. I'm gonna hold that one, but it's that like that old saying, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. A lot of black people, I think, got that mentality. Like, man, I found a way to get out the hood. You better figure it out too. Um, which I really feel like it hurt us in a way. I, I appreciate the opportunity it gave us, and allowed us to move forward in this country. But what I saw it do to the black community is it wasn't that accountability piece started to diminish from what I feel, what I see. So I feel like in order for us to get back to that, we have to go back into supporting each other, supporting um, everything that we're doing, no matter what it is. And if it's something that ain't right, being able to, I'm keep saying this word, being able to hold each other accountable, be able to hold each other accountable, like, man, look, that ain't the way to get it. Let's figure this out. Let's put our minds together and let's work on something. And I think he hits that in these last few bars. I mean, not the last, but um, at the end of the first verse, or close to the end of the first verse, he B.O.B. says, the best way to protest is hit them where it hurts their pockets. It's time to boycott shit. We need less rappers and more doctrines. We need less ballers and more profits. We need more unity, less gossip. But who am I to speak because I never went to college? And that's that accountability part. He also mentions a little bit at the end of the song. It's not even a bar. He not rapping. He just talking. But he says, we got to stop just saying the same thing and do something different. All this energy that we're putting into protesting, we should be putting into our community. Put it into starting up businesses. Put it into your kids. Put it into your community. Start your own business, so we don't have to support all these other business. Fuck, feed the homeless all year. You know, something. We got to do something, and that's why I say I feel like it's coming back, man. Ever since 2020, I feel like everybody, that sit down year, that's what I call it. It was a sit down year. It was a year we had to sit down and figure things out. That sit down year really made us think, like, how can we, if we did have to go and not support on the big conglomerates, big corporations and everything to make it, how are we gonna get out there and grind and make something happen? How are we gonna get to this financial freedom that everybody be preaching about, this generational wealth that everybody be preaching about? And so many LLCs and business owners popped up. Hell, I was one of them. My LLC started in 2020. Summer of 2020 was when InLove with Words became official. So it's like we gotta figure out how do we support ourselves. I look at all the other cultures, races, and I say races, RACES, not racist, but all the other races and cultures of people that support their own, have their own business district. If you ride through my city, if you ride through Houston, you can see other cultures, and you know when you've entered that area. You know when you've entered where their community is, and you can see the prosperity, you can see the support, you can see the unity, you can see everything that they have done to build and grow together. Um, and I want us to start doing this. I want us to get back to this, and I know that it has been a hard road and struggle for us to do that. We've been knocked down many, many times. We've been held back. We've been pushed back. But I really feel like we need to find a way to truly support. Stop talking down. Go back to that line that he said. What did he say? We need less ballers and more profits. We need more unity and less gossip. Let's stop talking about each other. Let's stop talking down on each other. Let's stop wanting to show off and say all the material things that we have, and actually speak something that's gonna change and make positivity. It's cool to celebrate your achievements and the fruits of your labor. Yeah, but don't put that as the highlight and the pinnacle of what you got going on, man. Because take all that away, you ain't left with nothing but your thoughts in your mind. So share those thoughts, and if those thoughts ain't deep enough to share, go and invest in shifting your mindset and putting something inside of your mind that's gonna hold sustainability and value. Um, I just I really feel like we can do this. I feel like we're in an era of where it is possible, it is going to get done. We keep seeing the same thing happen over and over again, and we're tired. And I think this happens every 15, 20 years or so. We're ready for a change. We're ready for something that looks different. But the only question that I ask is, are we going to be consistent with it? Are we going to keep moving forward with it? Are we not going to give up? Or are we going to continue to work on ourselves and work on our community? And that's how Bob ends the song. His last four bars of the song, he just says simply, "I'm trying to paint the bigger picture. You looking for the enemy, then stare into the mirror." I said, "I'm trying to paint a bigger picture. You looking for the answer, then look into the mirror, black man." And that's where we got to start. We got to look in the mirror and say, what am I doing for my community? And when I say community, I don't mean you got to put the whole weight of the community on your back. What are you doing for your family? Are you there for your family? What are you doing for your friends? Are you there for your friends? Are you supporting them? Are you holding them accountable when they do wrong and make wrong decisions? So you got to start small. You know, a wave, a wave starts as just a small drop in the ocean, in the pond or whatever, and then that ripple goes out. So but that first little drop, that's the one that makes the impact, that starts to make the change, where you start to see the waves and you start to see the ripples, and they spread out, and then they start affecting larger and larger areas. That's all you need to do, is be a drop. Be a drop in the water. Be a drop in the pond. Be a drop in your community. Be a drop in your family. Be a drop in your friend groups. Be a drop in your workplace, in your job. Be for my entrepreneurs out there. Be a drop. Make an impact in whatever it is that you're doing, and go and help. If you've made it, my entrepreneurs out there, if you've made it, go out there and see if it's somebody else trying to do the same thing, and give them some game on how they can make it, instead of trying to keep the secrets all hoarded to yourself because you don't want to take the competition. Trust me, it's 340, 338 million people in this country. You ain't if you got a solid product, if you got a solid business, you ain't gonna be losing nothing if you give somebody else game that's running in the same lane as you are. Just handle yours. So I hope that we can figure this out. Um, I think the biggest thing that we need to do, just taking it back to what I'm good at is, like I said, what I'm good at, but what I specialize in. Um, we need therapy. I don't know what that looks like for everybody. I don't know, and I'm not saying you need to go seek counseling. Um, but we as a people, we need to seek therapy, because the truth is, I don't care what level of black you are, whether, like I say, you suburban or hood, you have a certain degree of trauma that is buried in your conscious somewhere. And the reason why I say that is because majority of us black people know what the experience was like for us to get to where we are in 2023. We have seen the pictures of the lynchings. We have seen um, the videos of the dogs and the police in the streets. We have seen the current murders and the mistreatment that's going on in the streets. So, whether you bury it down deep and don't acknowledge it, or whether it's something that still boils your blood to this day, many of us black people have that trauma set in our minds of what it is to be black and what the expectation of treatment is for black people, which has created a whole different way of thinking, a whole different mindset. So I think the first thing that we need to do is, um, like B.O.B. says, if you're looking for the enemy, then stare into the mirror. Look into the mirror and work on ourselves. Seek therapy. Find a way to get whatever it is that may be having you making ill decisions. Get that out through whatever that looks like. Um, you gotta do it. You gotta do it. You gotta work on self. That's how you can become that drop. You work on yourself, and once you start fixing and improving yourself, that positive energy spreads out like a ripple in the pond, like a ripple in the water. So let's start with self. Let's all do that. Let's start with self. Check yourself, hold yourself accountable, and then you start holding yourself accountable. People will see, man, he really doing what he said he was gonna do. Man, if I see him falling off, I'm gonna remind him, man. Remember all the work you did. I'm gonna hold you accountable so you can keep doing what you do, and then I'm gonna flip that and be accountable to myself, and see how that ripple goes out. And then it's like that old one friend told a friend, that friend told two friends, two friends told four, and then some more. And so let's go. Let's just do what we need to do as black people in this 2023 and beyond. Um, but yeah, that's that's all I got, man. That's all I think I got for y'all today. I can't really put no more thought to it, and in the time limit that I want to give to y'all, because I could go here all night talking to y'all about this. Um, but yeah, let's do this. Let's figure out what we got to do to be ourselves. Let's find that confidence in ourselves. Let's be a human being and treat each other as human beings, and let's support each other. Let's support ourselves. Let's support our community, and it's not anti any other community. It's pro our community. So I always remember that we ain't, and that's one thing to those outside, and that's why I wanted to touch on this topic as we close this out. That's why I wanted to talk about Black Pride, because I believe that there are two terms that get misconstrued in the American language, and that's Black Pride and Black Power, and it's a lot of the times seen as, from people on the outside looking in, as something that's a anti another group, anti towards another group or another set of people, and it is not. It is pro us, pro black. And the reason why that is because this country has been so anti us that it has seeped into our mindsets and seeped into so many mindsets, the negative traits that this country has told us that we are, that we have to find a way to reshape, revamp, and redesign that to where it builds that confidence in us. And that's where you hear the term Black Pride, Black Power. That's what that means. So if it wasn't clear before, I hope that made it clear for anyone out there listening. When you hear a black person, or you see the fist on our hoodies, or you see the term Black Pride and Black Power, that's what it means. It is pro us. It is reminding us that we have value. We, not saying no one else does, but because we have been told so long that we don't have value, those terms remind us the amount of value that we do have. So man, yeah, I had to I had to give this to y'all, man, and I hope I stayed on point. I hope I stayed on topic. It was a couple of times that I lost my train of thought, but I think I got it right back. So I just, as always, man, I appreciate y'all for tuning in and listening and chiming your ears to this. Um, y'all already know what it is, man. Y'all can find this podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Apple Music, iHeartRadio, all whatever platform you listening to, and for your podcast, you can find me there. The In Love with Words podcast, In Love one word. Um, and if you can't, hit me up on the comments on whatever you're listening to. If you got another, or if you got somebody say that they can't get me on a certain platform, put it in the comments or whatever you listening to, and let me know, and I'll work on that immediately. But man, I appreciate y'all for tuning in, and until the next time, man, y'all know what it is. Y'all be easy. Y'all be cool. Peace.